but you have to understand that you cannot say that this whole time, and you even said this before, you cannot say this whole time that you didn't think that she had feelings for him. She led him on this whole time. If you have feelings for somebody,
that's not what we're talking. No, that's not.
no,
Hey everybody, welcome
no.
to the series finale of Loki. As you can see, the discussion got heated before we even hit start. And I literally sat here and I said, okay, I'm starting stream now. Because shit was getting spicy.
It's just me. I'm just being honest. Like, that's nothing to do with that. It's not about the feeling. Basically, they changed the plans. Hold on. The plans changed. That's it. They went in and they were like, "We're gonna kill this guy," right? That's what they said. They were gonna go kill the guy. So they went in and he basically said, "All right, you kill me. This is what happened." And Sylvie didn't want to think about it. She's like, "No, he's lying," because she doesn't trust anybody. And and male Loki was like, "No, let's think about it, because if we're wrong, we're gonna mess up." That's not betraying. That's literally just says, "Nah, I'm gonna do what I want," and that's what happened. She made a mistake. And yes,
you literally said exactly what
betrayal is.
What betrayal is.
Nah, she didn't betray him. She only double crossed him.
She's gonna tell me what the meaning is.
You literally just said.
Honestly,
fuck what our Loki thinks. Fuck what he thinks. It's what about what I think. So fuck him, and I don't give a shit.
Because they don't
know. She literally was like, "Oh,
honestly,
like,
it is a reoccurring meme on these discussions where the series finale, Brawly just has the worst take.
I don't. Hold on, wait a minute. Whoa, no. Hold on.
Yeah, just don't feel it anymore.
No, this is not like Falcon Winter Soldier, where I'm gonna go off and say, "Oh, this is a 2 out of 10. This game is what was the point?" First of all, this is
what was
season 2.
The point?
No, I'm not gonna say this.
I swear to God,
that was the best Brawly. That was the best Brawly.
First of all, you hated the ending of WandaVision. Don't give me that shit. You hated the ending of WandaVision. I did.
Dude, somehow Screen Crush and Ryan Airy heard you say that, and they've specifically Screen Crush has been putting out videos saying, "What's the point?" for every new Marvel.
It's hilarious. Me and Ryan Airy know what's up, dude. We know what's up. Because there's no point. Look, I'm just going to say this and then I'll shut up. I'm going to say this and I'll shut up, alright? Captain Winter Soldier, honestly, you could have just put it in a movie. I'm sorry, but that's it. There.
We're not talking about that. We are talking about... Okay, so again, welcome to our Loki series finale discussion. We have Solara joining us again, which is awesome. If you guys saw the Black Widow discussion, I posted that up a couple days ago, and Solara was on there. And now Solara's back home, and he's on his own computer this time, but he did stay up and watched it. So we got the another voice of reason here in the discussion.
Right.
But yeah, so we just finished watching the episode. It is currently 2:48 a.m. We're starting a lot earlier. I guess we just really wanted to get into it or something. But yeah.
Well, we didn't wait. We saw it right as it came out.
Yeah, literally. I think the episode dropped like at 1:50 a.m. So it dropped like 10 minutes earlier than usual, I guess, or something. But yeah, here we are, the end of season 1. As we learned, I mean, I think it was already confirmed. I think we might have mentioned that before, or maybe I read it somewhere online. But it is confirmed in the post-credits scene for this show that season 2 Loki will return. So Loki is getting renewed for season 2. But yeah, that was a very heavy episode. A lot of talking. A lot of like discovering and learning and wondering about what the hell is going to happen next. But who wants to jump in first? I think since this is a series finale and because of how tremendous like this episode is going to be for the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think this discussion is probably going to be a little bit more chaotic. Makes sense because Lokis are chaotic, so you know it works out that way. But we might not be, talking point to point because this episode, like I said, we got a big reveal, and after that reveal happened, we had a lot of just world building that happened and a lot of exposition. So, who wants to take it first?
Gods before
This episode was awesome. The whole time I watched this episode, I like it, it was like I didn't know like everything, dude. Okay, can I just say something before I even like give my general discussion?
Go ahead.
When Miss Minutes popped out, I was like, "Oh, Vash was right."
Yeah, I fucking told you, dude.
The moment she popped out, I was like, "Vash was right. It's fucking Miss Minutes." Like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
I will say the theory that I read last discussion about Mobius being the bad guy. Okay, that one was a little far fetched, but that's why I gave it a huge disclaimer that I was like, I don't really know how this one's gonna play out, but I threw it in there just because. But for once, we actually got like a pretty solid understanding of what the ending was gonna play out like. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So the episode was really good. I liked it a lot. It ended really well. It left a lot of questions, which I mean, obviously, since we know that there's going to be a season 2, that's great because now it leaves us, with something to sit on before the next season comes out, which I think Loki season 2 is going to come out before Multiverse of Madness. I'm not sure if I'm right.
I don't know about that. I'm looking because I have the timeline up of movies that are coming out. Next is What If in August, and then September is Shang-Chi. After that, it's Venom in September 24th. Eternals October 28th. Spider-Man is December 17th, and then Hawkeye and Miss Marvel should be coming out late this year, but there's no definitive look into it. And everything else is to be determined. We don't have anything else planned. I think Morbius with Jared Leto, that's in January, and then Doctor Strange is in March.
Okay, so there could be a chance that this could come out before Multiverse of Madness. So that it.
Yeah, because it's gonna be in 2022.
Yeah, so it already said that it's gonna be both Multiverse of Madness and Loki season 2 are coming out in the same year. So we don't really know which is going to come first, which is going to come after.
I feel honestly, I feel like this is the jump point, and we might get further progression, not from specifically Loki, but we might get forward progression in the MCU, like world building with the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah,
and that's the end of this year.
This is gonna be the starting point. This is basically where everything's set in motion. But you got to remember, movies and shows are not going to be in chronological order. They're probably going to be this is all starting at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, that was that's kind of the case sometimes with Marvel movies. They do that, where not everything is in chronological order, which is totally fine. But the way that this episode ended, this episode really leads into a lot of different stuff, which I liked a lot. Because it's not just, the way this ended, it's only going to lead into the Multiverse of Madness. The way this ended is this is kind of the starting point for a lot of MCU stuff. So I really, really enjoyed that. I didn't feel like this episode was lacking information. It gave me the right amount of information I needed to kind of be okay with the end of the season. Again, considering that there's going to be a season 2 and the way Marvel works, this is going to lead into a bunch of other movies and stuff like that. So, overall, this episode was really good. I liked it. What a really, really great way to end the series. It was pretty great.
Okay, sweet. So Laura, you want to jump in and give like a small little overview?
Well, I guess I would just have to say everything's gonna shit. Man, there's some questions that I would like to have answered. Like, first of all, like,
what what oh my god, what's her name?
Sylvie?
Ravona?
Oh,
No, I wonder
Ramona.
what
Yeah.
she's yeah, I wonder what she's up to. Because her stuff wasn't entirely too clear to me. Um, I mean,
I could answer
not
it, kind of, sort of, give you like a little bit of insight on that. Maybe not like answer it for you, but like a possibility. But I don't want to. I'll talk about it when we get to the end, because it definitely includes the like the big ending reveal. So, but
okay,
there's definitely feel
but then
what could happen with her. Yeah.
yeah. Wasn't expecting the Miss Minutes jump scare, but you know, that was
Yeah.
that was just kind of fun. Like I figured something was gonna, but like it was just like she was so bright and red, and I was just like, oh shit.
Oh shit.
That's what I said. This episode needed to be called the Old Boat.
Oh
Oh
no.
Lord.
I kind of want to, like, I mean, and the other thing is how Mobius got back, um, because, man, it's just, I feel like stuff just happened because it just, like, oh, that's just what it is, it made me just be like, okay, I guess I'm just subjecting myself to ditching all reality and just like, all right, that happened because it happened. Um, which kind of sucks because I usually, like, even if it's fucking a fake or like a fictional explanation, like I still kind of want an explanation on why things happen. Like at least like, oh well, um something something, the like maybe what are those little things called that they used to open the portals?
Tempad?
Yeah,
I
like,
know.
oh, maybe the pad started working again, or something. I don't know. I'm it's not too much of a deal breaker for me, but I still kind of like would at least like an explanation, even if it's a fucking far fetched one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that ending had. I mean, we were all waiting for like some sort of ending. The usual Marvel post credit scene, which really wasn't one technically, but yeah, we got that season 2 confirmation, so we're gonna have to
Yeah,
see where it goes from here.
I think, like, honestly, I think that there's a lot to be discovered for sure. Of course, the fact that it ended in the way it did with the timeline basically branching into this, unstoppable, like, continuation. Like, it's basically like, oh, we're branching, and now it's past the point, and oh look, it's even past what you guys could ever hope to stop. And I think, just like, overall for me, my overall feeling on the episode is like, reflecting on this with future projects is 100% going to be a thing. And that I feel like this episode, while it was very dialogue heavy, and it also just basically kept you questioning and like wondering, like, okay, is he telling the truth, is he lying, is she lying, is he lying, is she lying, like, there was so much back and forth in the dialogue between Sylvie, Loki, and me personally, I'm not going to call this guy Kang. I personally feel, so big reveal in the episode for those of you listening and hanging out, if you watch this video on YouTube. The big reveal in this episode is we end up meeting the what do they keep calling, the he who remained, or he
Yeah, he who remains.
yeah, he who remains. And the episode specifically does not let us get a name. And he even says it. He's like, "Oh, it's not as simple as a name. They call me the what was it? The
The
dictator, the
conqueror.
conqueror, blah blah blah." And he doesn't say his name. And I think the reason why Marvel chose to do that is because, spoiler alert, at the end of this episode, Sylvie does end up killing him, because there comes a point in the episode where Kang, or not Kang in this case, in my case, he says that we've passed a crossing point where he himself doesn't even know what's going to happen next. And he was able to avoid and do all this stuff up until that point, and now he says basically that it's up to them. And so the reason why I feel like I'm not gonna call this person Kang is because he is the person who survived throughout all of the what he said, the multi-universal war, and all the different versions of himself. He's the one that persisted, and I think the Kang that we were expecting is the one that Loki looks up and sees the statue at the TVA. I think that Kang is going to act differently, and I think he's going to be portrayed differently. And that's the Kang the Conqueror that we're going to come to know in the future. I think this Kang is just basically a guy who
variant.
He's a variant.
It's a variant Kang. That's what he is.
Basically, like he was able to persist, but now that Sylvie made this decision, since he's no longer around, he said, "See you soon," but it's gonna be a worse devil than me. And so that's why I feel like we didn't give a name to this guy, because he was all zany and he was all wacky and stuff like that. Because I think he was just basically doing the job of like keeping the timelines, and he was trying to like keep himself, in that state of mind of like, oh, I'm having to like stop these timelines and just keep it this way because we want to live, at least to have some sort of like life. And it just drove him insane, and that's why he's so zany and kind of like, oh, haha, blah, blah, blah. Like he's just kind of like off the wall. But I think when we actually meet this new the Kang, like that we're gonna meet, maybe like an Ant-Man or something, that'll be the one that's gonna be the guy that's the big baddie. But yeah, overall, I just think that the episode was really, really captivating. It kept me very entranced in the conversation, and the whole time my mind's just going and thinking like, okay, how, like, where are we going from here? And like, are we gonna have Loki's taking over? Are we not? All this other stuff. But earlier I was in my friend, he was streaming Marvel Future Revolution, and we were talking about Black Widow and stuff. And I mentioned in passing, I said, like, I really think that Sylvie's going to betray Loki in this episode. And he was telling me, he was like, oh, I don't know if they go that far. I think that's a little bit of a stretch. And sure enough, it fucking happens. She entices him and makes him think that, okay, I'm going to listen. And then last second just says, like, I'm not you. And she just fucking Tempads his ass out of there. And yeah, basically kills.
Tempad. What was just the like? What was it? Just that?
No, yeah, she did her enchantment thing to push him back, but he went through the like little portal. So I would think it's a Tempad or something.
Well, no, she was holding.
She was holding the whatever
the little circle
had.
Thing. Yeah. So that thing. So yeah, I mean that's basically the breakdown of how things unfolded. Like the He Who Remains gives a huge speech just talking about how I think he said the 31st Earth or something like that.
Yeah.
That he discovers that there's different universes like stacked up amongst each other, and that he ends up meeting up with himself, and there was a time of peace of just different versions of himself from different universes working together. But then that's basically what started the war, was other versions of himself were not so nice, and like we get this whole breakdown. And so, Brawley, how'd you feel about this whole like basically like exposition speech that he gave?
It covered pretty much the talking points about what you all really were thinking about. We know we're heading toward a multiverse. We know that it had to start somewhere, which is kind of weird because we kept thinking, oh, it's gonna, it started with WandaVision, right? Because of realities, and then we took a break from that with Captain America, Winter Soldier, or Falcon, Winter Soldier, and then we came to this. So we knew going into this series, we knew, okay, they're gonna jump a lot of timelines, they're gonna jump into a lot of realities. So we knew it was already gonna start there. And we kind of knew at the end, like, where it was going to head to. I think this was kind of like the easiest to portray because it deals with time. And everyone kind of knows who Kang is and who he is. Now, I agree with you in the sense that they didn't give us a name. So I won't call this particular person Kang, but it is Kang because he says more people of him is coming, and if it's he's,
yeah,
you know what I
it's
mean?
the same actor.
On a technicality, it's Kang.
Yeah, it's the same actor.
It's the same actor. Right. So,
yeah.
I thought. I thought the movie points was cool. I thought he acted pretty well. I think a lot of people will, enjoy his interpretation of Kang, whatever the evil one is. This one was kind of different. I wasn't expecting him to be this kind of like giddy and kind of like loose and all this stuff, with his words and his actions. I kind of was expecting some kind of boss at the end of the time, the one that survived it all. I thought it would be more of like, some kind of badass being, but I mean, it's understandable. He's the one that survived to the end, and he's the one who's at the end of the time, and he's the one that controls Alioth, which is really cool. That pet cloud monster thing that he has. So, and that's how he stops the first war that he talks about, is having that pet. So I'm gonna guess that's gonna play a role in the future, or at least season 2. I'll give my thoughts on the series itself, toward the end. But I thought the conversations that these characters had, and I thought the episode was cool and good, and it definitely kept me engaged throughout the part. Definitely did pique my interest.
Of course.
But okay, so I guess at this point in the conversation, we can kind of pinpoint, like, everyone pinpoint something that you feel like you want to talk about or you want to bring up, or something that you noticed. I think for me, the one thing that I want to bring up is just basically the moment that Loki gets back. He has his moment of sadness, and then he gets up and he's like searching around the TVA, and he sees Hunter D15 and Mobius talking and looking at the branching timeline. And Loki says, like, he starts breaking it all down, and he's like, there is someone, he knows everything, but now he doesn't, blah blah, it's complicated. And then Mobius says, like, who are you? And that's very confusing. It's one of those things that I'm sure we're going to get more answers to. I really don't know if we're going to get answers to that specific question in Doctor Strange or Spider-Man or something like that. But that's crazy, because the Mobius we saw was in Ravona's chambers, or like in her office. And I don't know who this new Mobius is. I don't know if Sylvie used that little circle pad to send him to a different timeline where there's a different TVA that still thinks that they're real. And maybe that different timeline, because the timeline that Loki was in, there was statues of 3 heads everywhere, and there was 3 timekeepers and all that stuff. And then in this new TVA, he sees Mobius and Hunter D15, and he looks at the statue, and there's one Kang. Well, there's the Conqueror, I guess.
It's Kang, yeah.
And so I'm wondering if this is a different timeline, or now this timeline has become the more dominant one or something, where Kang is known to the TVA. The TVA knows that who's in charge, and no one's like, oh, who are they? Like, that might be a thing.
So I have a couple theories. My first one is, after Sylvie killed this variant Kang, I think there was some point between when Loki was sent back, or I don't know, but I think the timeline has already changed, in the sense that that Kang that was there before is now dead, and another Kang has taken his place.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because of how he said, I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
So it was an obvious hint that, and he said it himself, like, somebody is gonna take my place, a reincarnation and all that good shit. It's like, you could kill me, but I'm gonna come back, and I'm gonna. And he even says it. He says, and I'm gonna end up right back here. So what I think happens is when she killed him, there was some point where the timeline, everything in the timeline changed, and the Kang that was dead has now been replaced with the more evil Kang that we all know. So that's one theory I have, and then there's the other one that I have, which is a little bit out there, but dude, for like the whole time that this variant Kang was talking, I did not believe him one bit. I did not believe him.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like there was I feel like there was something else behind the way this dude was talking. Like, I don't know how or what. I feel like one of the theories I have is that he was trapped there. He wasn't there on purpose, and I think that void world eating cloud thing, was it Alioth or whatever?
Alliance,
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was there to keep him in, not to keep people out. And I feel like his death was the only way that he could be released from wherever the fuck he was at.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I don't know. It's just a lot of what ifs, right? Because what if he was trapped there? Killing him allows him to like leave from that place and actually like conquer other timelines. Maybe like that's another thing. Maybe he kept saying that everybody else was worse than him, but what if that's not true?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like this dude was not being 100% truthful with it. Like, it just all seemed too easy. Like, he literally gave them the throne.
Yeah.
Like, how is it, like, he literally was like, guys, I don't want to do this anymore. Just do what I do.
Yeah, it definitely is weird. It could be, just something that, because he kept saying, like, oh, everything's preset. Look at these papers. Like, I know what you're going to say. And then they're like, well, why are you making us do this if you already know how it's going to play out? And, like, he's like, oh, don't spoil that. Like, we'll get to that, through the journey. But then we get to the crossing point where then he can't tell anymore. But it's really, I don't know. It's interesting because it's like, do we really want to believe that there was all of it was predetermined? Like classic Loki doing that thing and dying and all this other stuff was all predetermined just to get them there. Like, I see where you're coming from, but it's also like
it's a little reach. It's a little reachy.
Yeah, it's a little reachy, but I just feel like it just all comes down to like if Marvel really like, because Marvel could do it. They could just literally be like, no, like that was it. Like it was all predetermined and everything that happened is supposed to happen. But like, I don't know. It's definitely tricky to think about.
Yeah,
but
once you start to get, especially once you start to get into like multiversal stuff, right? Like there's literally endless possibilities of how this could happen.
Yeah.
So it gets really tricky because at this point, like there's not a set. There are no set rules anymore. Like at this point in Marvel, literally anything could happen.
Yeah.
So,
it's so funny because it's like after just watching Black Widow and what do you call it? I don't want to spoil anything just in case people are watching this and they haven't seen Black Widow or something. But the problems in that movie seem so small compared to this He Who Remained guy dying and then behind him of all the branching multiverses just fucking expanding and all that shit.
Well, they gotta give them something to do in the sense of not everyone's gonna be in this multiverse war.
Oh no, for sure. I totally understand that. I'm just saying like it's just funny like in retrospect, like
more like the human characters have to fight.
Yeah, they're. I'm just looking at it in the sense of like, oh, these human characters are fighting for they're fighting for their like life on Earth, but then there's like 50 bajillion Earths, and there's this guy out there that's gonna like just destroy it or whatever. But
also Solara, your thing about Ravonna, I think this like changed timeline of like where the new Kang is like the leader, because obviously at the end of the episode you find out that the new Kang is the leader of the TVA. How this Kang became the leader of the TVA is like the question, right? Like how did it go from being this guy who died 5 seconds ago to Kang in such a short amount of time? I think however that happened, I think we're going to be in the timeline where Ravonna is going to become like Kang's girlfriend. Like maybe not girlfriend, but like like love interest. You know what I mean? Like I think because we are now set in a place where Mobius doesn't even know who Loki is. So something's changed, right? So that can't only just affect those two people, right?
Yeah,
that has to affect.
I think Loki got sent to an alternate universe's TVA, and I really do think that like the MCU TVA, like the one that we've known and the one that we've been hanging out with, I think they're gonna focus on managing like the different variant, because we're gonna have the main Kang the Conqueror guy for sure. But I think our TVA, like their new purpose, I feel like is gonna be trying to contain the variant Kangs that are not gonna be like the top dog.
So then here's I don't know about
scattered.
that. Yeah, because I don't know about that because that asks the question, how is it if Loki got sent to a different timeline where this Kang is now the leader of this TVA? How does this Kang play a part in our universe's MCU? You understand what I'm saying? So how does
they
this?
They can go through different universes. He can go to that universe if he wants to because they've learned how to do it.
Well, the thing is that my okay, better question. How does a Kang from another universe become the focal point for this universe's
I think it's just about amassing
power. What I mean?
Probably the quantum realm.
I just feel like it's amassing power. Like maybe he might be in a different alternate timeline or alternate universe, but it's just.
But he finds out about this universe.
Yeah, it's just about amassing power and then maybe transferring that way. But I mean,
what if Ravonna did like the?
What?
I was gonna say, like, what if Ravonna like did a reset on the TVA or something? Cause she was like, you know, kind of leading up as if she was gonna do this fucking huge thing and letting Mobius live.
So that's where I'm getting at. I honestly didn't like Ravonna's character at all in this episode. Like I get it. I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to make her kind of conflicted. You know, like Miss Minutes is giving her the runaround. She kind of wants to know answers. She wants to know answers, right? So she's basically in the point where Mobius and Loki were early in their season, where she's like, okay, I want to know what's going on because I don't want this to be a lie for nothing. So she wants to protect what she thought was real, what she thinks the TVA is real. But why go ahead and fight Mobius?
Well, you know what? Hold on. Let me interject real quick. Miss Minutes does show up in this episode, and she's just like, "Oh, here you go," and she's like, "This is what I asked for," and he's like, "He said you would like that, or like you know that might be helpful." So maybe he, had an inkling that this would happen, and so he did send information to Ravonna's character to go and create this new TVA with him as
But it made it seem like she was turning a leaf, like, oh, like she first kind of says like, well, the only one that has free will is the one that's in charge. Mm-hmm. And then she leaves Mobius by saying, I'm gonna go look for this so-called free will. So basically she kind of like at the end
I didn't get that vibe.
That's what she said. That's the line she literally said.
Yeah, but she's so like she's in a dominant stance, and she's basically saying like I think it's a play on like, oh, you care so much about free will, I'm gonna go find this free will and make it my own, or like make it what it needs to be.
You could spin it that way, but then why not prune Mobius?
Well, because what's the point? He said like go ahead, and she's just like you're just gonna find a way back. I don't think.
No, I mean like it's like saying, okay, well these sticks don't matter anymore. Let's put them away. Like obviously they still use them as weapons.
It's more so just like TV show. It's like, oh, why does the villain talk, not just shoot the hero in John Wick, but they don't. I think it's just one of those kind of moments where it's like she let him go.
I think she's conflicted. My point of view, I think she's conflicted and she's gonna go look for Anne. I think that's what she wants to do. Which was just kind of like it's kind of like I don't know. I would have done it in a different way instead of like attacking Mobius or like push him on the ground. I would have just said, fine, like. You run things here. I'm gonna go look for this so-called free will, whatever, right? Something like that would have made more sense to me than her have this one stance on protecting the TVA and the lie and everything, and then just dipping to go look for something. You know, like I didn't like the the sudden change.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it has to do with the information she got from Miss Minutes thing.
Pretty sure, but
yeah. But I definitely feel like that moment, that exchange with Ravonna and Mobius, it kind of hits you how like Mobius was such a prominent character in this whole series, and it kind of hits you in this one moment where he kind of is like he doesn't really have much, you know, like.
I'm gonna get to that. But
yeah, but I feel like he had all this conviction and he had all of this like drive.
I'm gonna get to that with a different character though.
After he got like, you know, on Loki's side or whatever, and he did all this stuff in the void. But like after his conversation with Ravonna, me personally, I felt like there was this kind of like disconnect where I was like, man, this character kind of, you know, doesn't really.
Yeah, he really doesn't offer much anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't really offer much, and he can't really do much right now, and it just sucks because he still doesn't know where he's from. He has to figure that out, and yeah, it kind of checked him, you know. It's kind of like, okay, yeah, Mobius, like, you're a cool guy and all, but like, you know, what can you do here? and so yeah, I'm excited to see what his role will be in season 2. But
I do want to point out something that we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah.
Now that we've seen the episode, now you can kind of understand that, or now I kind of understand. I saw this on Twitter a couple before we started talking, but now did you guys notice how the title card for Marvel Studios had all the Marvel characters talking at one time?
Yeah.
Like so now after seeing the episode, it all makes sense. It's like all the different scenes and scenarios all like meshing at once, so it kind of like hints at like the whole multiversal shit. So I think it's pretty. I thought that shit was.
I didn't get that kind of vibe. I got the vibe of like this stuff doesn't matter anymore. Like this is the past. Now we're moving on to the future. You know, kind of like because there was a lot of things that were said. And it was kind of going backwards in time. It first started off with like Sam and talking about Ant-Man.
Yeah, when they played the music, oh my god.
Yeah, it was pretty. When it first kicked off, I was like, wait a second, what?
Yeah, so I think it's just a past, like okay, we're done with that phase. We're now in phase 4. Basically, that's what I kind of. But I can see it your way too.
Yeah, I think. I guess what we can kind of wrap up this whole discussion on is Sylvie's character. How does everyone feel? Slar, you can go first. How do we feel about how Sylvie ended up and how she acted in this episode?
I think, I mean, she did say herself, she can't really trust anybody, and I mean, I feel like she's gonna end up being like the villain that people are gonna have to be taken down, or like, I don't know. I feel like it all like rides on like what clues we get from everything else. Like, but I think she's probably gonna end up like, you know, discovering that, oh shit, maybe Tom Hiddleston Loki had a point. And then she's gonna like, kind of pull a 180, but it's gonna be too late. And then, that's where I see things going. But as far as her character, I liked it. But I like her. But she kind of like I expected she was gonna do what she did and just like, yeah. So I'm not mad. I'm just a little disappointed.
It is rough because it's like. Especially with how much progression and because again I can't stress enough, the Loki that we got in this episode is from right after the first Avengers movie. So like I feel like honestly I feel like this Loki, like he went through more than our Loki. Because he had to witness his mom dying. He had to witness his dad dying. He saw it all through the tape. He found out that another variant of himself killed his brother. You know, all these different emotions that this guy must be going through. And then finally, like, coming to the realization that, like, there is free will, you can be a good person, and all that stuff, and breaking his chain of constant betrayal and distrust and stuff like that, and finally fully giving himself to somebody, and then they betray him. Like, god damn.
That was huge character growth. Like he finally understood like what it was exactly that he like what pain he caused to other people, and like I felt like that like moment where he was just like on his knees and just like pretty much crying, right?
Yeah.
Man, that I felt it.
I feel one more thing I want to throw in is I feel like the production value in this episode was like tremendously, like the budget went into this shit. Like the whole opening sequence, like the way the world looked and had that big castle.
I think the whole series was like that. I can't really say like, oh, this was like 10 times better than the other ones, because there's like many parts in many episodes. There was so much budget and so much nice production value. The score was amazing.
I feel like this one and episode 3 were like the most though. Like they
I can't really see this one. This one was like mainly shot inside a danky citadel. Yes, you get some things outside, which is cool, but like I thought
like, even the fight scene was better.
I thought when they were on Lamentus, it was more. Everybody loved the Borderland look kind of things. Everything was crumbling. You got the moon coming down, ships exploding. Like I thought there was way better than the other ones than this one, but I won't say this one was bad. I just didn't see, the production value other than like his little story that he was showing. And
That's what I mean. Like I just felt like there was so much more. Like the outside looked amazing when the episode first started. It looked incredible, and then the amount of magic that was used during their little scuffle throughout the episode was really, really well done, and better than other fight scenes that we had gotten.
No, it was better than other.
And then just the presentation of that Kane did was just all in all like really, really good, I think.
Sure.
But yeah, so Sylvie, Goss, you want to go next?
We don't like her no more.
We don't like her no more.
So I was I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, that I guess that's cool. Whatever, but we don't stand her no more.
I got you, guys.
We don't stand her no more.
I got you.
What she did to my boy, fucked up, man. Dude, the whole time, I'm gonna tell you right now. This motherfucker wanted to tell her he loved her. He did. You felt it. He was like, I don't. He was like, but he like, it's hard for him to say that because it's fucking Loki. So he's not. That's why all he said was,
no. Hold on, no. We can't just say, oh, because he's Loki, he can't do it. We just talked about, or at least Vash eloquently talked about how he had this progression and he saw all these things.
Correct.
And he's gone through all this shit.
Correct.
So yes, it's hard, but he should have been able to.
But my point, but you have to still. That's fine, but you also still understand that if he had done that, that would have been the first time that he's ever told somebody that he loved them sincerely. Besides his parents, I guess, and to some extent his brother.
Yeah.
But like, he's never told anybody else outside of that he loved them. So yeah, he might have gone through all of these changes and all this stuff. It's still gonna be really hard for him to express emotion, and that's why all he said was, I just want you to be okay. And to me, that was like his version of saying, I love you, I care for you. And when he was like,
yeah.
So like seeing like, and then when they like, that this dude like loved Sylvie and cared for her, like however you want to slice the cake, it's the truth. And seeing him like rejected like that, nah, bro.
I just don't. Give me the green light.
She let him
Give
on.
me the
Dude.
green light, host, and then I could go off.
No,
Right?
yeah. I mean, we're basically at the point of just you can talk about whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, okay, I'll retract. I'll say I admit defeat in the sense of the betrayal part. But you have to understand that this whole series, she never really like. Everybody was always knowing that okay, Loki loves a girl, but the girl's kind of like for the mission. And I've said this on past podcasts before, or just our discussions. I've said it that he's putting in all the effort and all the he's doing all the work in the sense of the love stuff, and she's just kind of like there. I'm doing this for the mission. And she said this a couple episodes in a row before. So like for the only thing that I would say that was kind of messed up is the kiss, right? The kiss was kind of messed up. They do end up kissing for a little bit, and she used that to push him out of the other way. My whole reasoning is that she did it to get him out of the way so she could complete her mission. Because I don't think it's betrayal when her thoughts are not, oh, I love this person, or I want to put this person over the mission. She's always been the mission first, always. So that's where I'm coming from in the sense, I don't think it's betrayal. Okay, that's the only thing. But other than that, fine. Could be deemed betraying and all that stuff. She messed up. She went with her gut. She was hurt. They basically, something we haven't talked about is basically tells them, look, we'll give you whatever the hell you want. You want the throne? You want the Infinity Gauntlet? You want to kill Thanos? It's yours, right? It was basically, what's the name of Rosho or whatever, Morosho? Say it's yours, my friend. Like, you can just have it if you guys just walk away. You guys can have whatever you want. You can have a timeline where you're together, right? And that kind of tempted Loki, right? Because I think the thing, and it's gonna get to my gripe, right? But I'm gonna first go with this. Kind of gave Loki the thoughts of, well, this could work, right? Like I can have a timeline where it could be me and her, right? And everything's all forget. Like I don't think he was gonna go for it until he met this Kang guy. And so when Kang basically says, look, you got two options. You kill me and unleash hell, or you guys take over. I'll give you guys the throne. Go ahead. Right? You guys can run it any way you want. But there needs to be someone in my... And so Loki, Sylvie thought, oh, well, Loki just wants it for himself. Loki wanted it to be, well, no, I wanted it for us, right? He wants it for together. So that's where, again, it stems down to he cared about her, but she cared more about the mission than him. That was my biggest. That was kind of like where everything went by. What I would say about Loki. Bash might mute me for this, but I have to say it. This Loki, I understand what he went through, and I'm not gonna deny that this was a great transformation. That this Loki went through a bunch of stuff. That this traumatic episodes. Got betrayed, got let down, lost everything. At the end of the episode, he has nobody. He doesn't even have Mobius. He has nobody. He's stuck in a universe, in a multiverse by himself, right? But man, Loki is boring. And I get that it's because he's bearing it all and trying to get away from his past. But man, like they did this man so dirty. Like they did him so dirty. Like power-wise, his personality, his humor. It's like he doesn't matter. Like you want to talk about how Mobius doesn't matter? I feel like Loki doesn't matter now anymore. Like you're gonna get me hyped for season 2? For what? What did I see from him in this other than like?
There it is. The
yeah, there it is,
special. This is why we keep him on the show.
I'm just
Those
saying,
of you in the comments, flame this man. Boo this man.
Don't interject. Wait.
Boo this man.
Wait. Okay, I'm just saying.
Did give him everything, and
am I not wrong, Goss? Am I not wrong? Am I right? Like, come on, like we don't get anything. In every episode, we kept saying, "Well, why is Loki so powered down?" And we had to make up the excuse. All because of TVA.
You and I have had this conversation, and this is something that you yourself have admitted. But you are a huge...
I'm entitled to my opinion, first of all, right? I'm entitled.
Yeah, of course, you're entitled to your opinion. But you are enticed by very, very standardized tropes.
Okay.
You want the definitive hero. You want the most amazing badass villain.
No, I just want Loki to have something.
No,
That's
I'm just saying
all.
that you are influenced so much by those.
No, no,
By
no, no, no,
those,
no.
yeah, yes, bro.
I'm
We've
not mad.
had
No,
this
I'm not mad that
discussion.
Kang is not. I'm not mad that there was no final boss. It was even talked about today. Even Solara was like that. The ending was kind of disappointing, like a little bit.
The point that I'm getting at is this: Loki could perform in a different way and still be impactful. He doesn't
So you're
have
still
to be.
hyped on Loki. I want you to be really honest.
Yeah,
You're
what?
still hyped on Loki.
I'm hyped in the sense of his a bit like again, Loki's don't die. His ability to continue to persevere throughout different areas of where he has no power or he has no understanding of what's going on or he's thrown through a loop over and over and over when it comes to what time is he in, when's the last time he slept, all of this shit. Like he has persevered through it all and he's met adversity head on and he's still alive. That's what entices me to the character because he doesn't have to be the strongest in the room. He doesn't have to be the most clever in the room at all
I'm not
times.
saying that.
No, but what I'm saying is you find his journey as him coming off as not compelling or not proactive or not doing the most when in actuality all these pieces of the puzzle have been moved because of this guy.
Okay, time out. All right, you like that he could persevere and that he escaped all the defeat and he keeps on going, right?
Mm-hmm.
What makes him different from the MCU version of himself? The only reason he died was when he actually changed and went to Thanos and fought Thanos and got killed. That's the only time he got killed.
The change, I mean, to answer your question, the difference between the MCU version of himself is because he wasn't on screen 90% of the time. He was able to persevere because he was just behind the scenes, and then he shows up on Ragnar on that one planet that Hulk
But
was on.
still,
No, but what I'm saying is obviously when the magnifying glass is on someone a little bit more, then it comes into fruition like what exactly they have to go through and what they're actually met with from time to time. It's easier to say like, oh, MCU Loki got to live and persevere. Well, yeah, because Loki's lived. So it's like it still holds true. It's just this was how this show presented it, and I don't feel like he underperformed, but I also understand that TV shows they nerf the heroes like that. It's a given. Like Falcon Winter Soldier got nerfed, WandaVision got nerfed.
Okay, I'll give you Falcon Winter Soldier, even though I think Winter Soldier did way more in the series than he ever did in the shows, except for his own movie with Captain America. But I meant after that, he didn't do anything compared to what he did in the series. So I don't know about
so it's
that.
hard to say he would do anything when he was in cryo in Wakanda. Like, how is he going to do anything?
No, I'm just saying, in Infinity War, he didn't do much.
Well, okay, in Infinity War, what did Rocket do? What did Groot do?
He had more lines than him.
Oh yeah, okay. Obviously, there's gonna be more key components to a whole story, and there's gonna be bigger players, of course.
But you've always said
it kind of goes back to saying how he had the magnifying glass. When you have the magnifying glass of certain characters, it's like, of course, you're going to see them do more than the other ones behind the scenes. But it's like, that final fight in Endgame, it's like, okay, we focused on.
But what that does is contradict what he's saying, because he's saying that these shows feel nerfed, but they're magnified. So
you can. But the thing is, you can magnify a character, but also keep them grounded. Like you can focus on their everyday like waking moment. But you could also bring them down to where they're not.
I agree. In at least the three shows that we watched, the feeling feels like, okay, they're all kind of nerfed in some way, right? In some way, they're kind of nerfed. Like Wanda was kind of nerfed, even though she was literally making her own reality. Which, I don't know. It's just like I said. I don't say these things to have hot takes. I say it because it's my opinion. It's the way I see things and the character. And I just felt like, yeah, I enjoyed the series. I enjoyed this ride. I enjoyed the thing with Mobius and him and having this hunt. But this series, you can't. It's not without its criticism. And like one big criticism is what was episode 2 when Sylvie dropped all those bombs on the timeline, and then for what, right? Like it never got mentioned again. And so then we were on this whole roller coaster with them, and I don't care. Like at the end of the day, like it's fine. Like I love the dialogue between the two characters. I loved when they were both on the same screen because it was engaging and their scenes were awesome. And even though the fight scenes weren't great, it was still got the point. I love the story about free will versus control. I like that. I do enjoy the series, but I do feel that like does Marvel even remember that he's a frost giant? They don't even mention that at all in this, right? Like, and this is not because of past Avengers. This is literally his origin. Is that he's a frost giant? So like, you know what I mean? Like that doesn't ever come into play. He just kind of seems like if like they made him into Joe Schmo, and we're supposed to be like, okay, like just because he's Loki and he has all this flair that's gonna keep his character above water. And I don't know, it just feels weird because it just feels like what my I guess like my the end of the day my gripe is, and it's because they're season 2, so I kind of give it a pass because of season 2, but I felt like every time he was on screen with someone else, they're the reason, like they're the ones that kind of steal the show, right? Like Mobius was the one that was kind of pulling it. Sylvie was the one kind of pulling it. All the other Lokis that were on there, especially old Loki and young Loki and alligator Loki, at some time were doing everything. And so like yeah, he has his moments, but it always felt like he was outshined, and I just wish he wasn't outshined all the time. But that's my feeling. I don't know if you agree, but that's how I felt. Like he got outshined a lot.
So it's funny because
I feel like all characters in recent Marvel stuff, like or all side characters, have pretty much outshone like the main focus characters. Black Widow movie, Cap Winter Soldier. I felt like some of the side characters. I mean, Zemo, hello, and even in WandaVision, like Walker. There you go. So I think that could just probably be just a reoccurring theme, a recurring Marvel thing.
Yeah.
That the side characters are definitely like just pulling up because I got to give them a little bit of time in the light too. So, what were you gonna say, Gus?
Oh, I think it's funny that you say that, Brawley, because I actually feel the opposite. I've stated this before throughout this time that we've done this discussions that I was never a fan of Loki. I always felt that anytime Loki was on screen in MCU movies, he was boring. After the first time I saw him, it was every single time he came on screen, it was the same thing every single time. It was Loki, he's there, he's lying, get what he wants every single time. It's never changed. So to me, that's boring. When you have a character that stays the same throughout like 6-7 movies, that's boring as shit. Every time Loki comes on screen, it's gonna be the same thing. So to me, this was different because you got to see him put in a situation that he had no control over. He didn't know what was gonna happen. He couldn't be who he was. He couldn't be the god of mischief. He couldn't do all the snappy things that he did in all the other movies and show himself being, arrogant and mischievous or whatever. And to me, when you put a character that has been the same for so long in a situation where it's not the same and they don't have any control over that, and you see character progression and growth, I enjoy stuff like that. Because I feel like as a character, this is finally like something different out of him. Instead of seeing the same old, oh, it's Loki, you think that he's not bad, oh, he's bad again, oh, he's kind of good, but he's bad anyway. And it's just the same, like it's the same cat and mouse chase with Loki. And you could even say it like Mobius says it in like, I don't know, like the second or third episode. He's like, it's always this with you. Like it's never anything different. Like it's always the same thing. You're always going to do the same thing. You're always going to say the same thing. So like seeing him go from doing that to changing his whole perspective on basically his entire life is huge character progression and growth, especially seeing how he's going to interact with the rest of the MCU, having gone through this entire like change. So to me,
if he was a character you're saying he is, that he's the same boring character that doesn't make the same choice, that always gets what he wants, that always gets away, he would not have attacked Thanos. He would not have died.
that's fine, but that happened when at the end of his life.
Yeah,
the last
because
movie?
That's where development shows is at the end.
Well, but that's the thing is that's a reoccurring conversation between a lot of people. Is that I mean, at least that I've seen, a lot of people bring up the fact that they get tired of the trope of a villain doing one good deed to right all of his wrongs, and basically, what this is presenting is like, okay, well, we're gonna tackle that head on, and yeah, Loki did that one good thing at the end of during Endgame or at the end of Infinity War where he died.
But it wasn't just that one good thing.
Well, I mean, okay, but it was always a slight. It was like a good thing to get what he wanted in the end. But this the last thing that he did was a good thing just to help, his brother.
I guess like what I'm saying is like he started the way with teaming up with Thanos. That's how he got the time stone or the space stone. That's how he got it because he got it from Thanos.
Yeah.
And so by the end of it, not even just the end, but even in Ragnarok, he could have abandoned his people and gone with his sister. He didn't, he
but
defended.
The thing is that Loki always wanted to be. He got Thanos' help, but he wasn't going to stay with. He wanted to overtake Thanos.
Well, yeah, of course, right? Obviously,
so that's what I mean is that there's always a constant. At least with the old Loki, that was always a constant. So it's like that one good deed. Yeah, he did that, and that's why he died. The RMCU Loki died that way. But this is showing like, let's take a villain, but actually give him an arc that helps him become redeemable and just mold him into a whole different progression.
Because I'm gonna explain it this way. There's another way I can explain it. See, when I would watch our Loki in MCU, and he would get fucked over for all the dumb shit that he did, I would get hype. I'd be like, "Fuck yeah, fuck that guy." He's
fuck
that guy. Yeah, right. Yes, right. You're correct. At the end of this, I did not want any of that to happen to this Loki. The way that he got fucked over by Sylvie, I did not want that for him. I did not want for like Mobius to forget who he was. It was the first time that for this character, I did not want the bad thing to happen to him. I wanted him to like have a good ending. I didn't want him to end up in jail.
I know I keep going to the same well, but I think you're in the very big minority. You're in the minority where you would be cheering if Thanos killed him. Like you would cheer because Thanos killed him because that's what he got and that's what he deserved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, yes, it's a self. Yes.
I know. I keep going back to
one.
I
it's fine,
that, like,
and I get that. I get that. But in my eyes, it's like Vash said. It's one thing that he did, and he did it in a selfless act. But right, the thing but my point, and I've made this point before. Loki has always been the character, because we've had this conversation, where Loki has always been the character where a selfless act from him is always during a life or death situation.
Right.
And in Thanos' case, he was gonna die anyway. You think Thanos was not gonna kill him? He was gonna die anyway. Let's just be honest. He was gonna get fucked. Either way, he was gonna die. So he was put in a situation where it was either death or death. So he had no other choice.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
It's Thanos. What?
Okay,
what
right.
What are you talking about?
Okay, take that, right? Take that energy. What has Thanos done to the characters that you know that he's done that where he kind of like, fuck you, I'm going to kill you anyway? Like, who has he done that to? He didn't do it to Rowan. And Rowan basically spat in his face.
Gamora.
He did it to Gamora.
He did it to his own daughter.
He did it to Drax.
He didn't do it to Drax.
And he even has it in this speech. He says, "Oh, it was never personal, but this, I'm gonna enjoy it." Like,
okay, because this is like when he did time travel. I'm not saying Thanos is not a villain. I'm saying it's not in his nature to double cross, because in his mind, he's all powerful. So he doesn't have to stoop to that level
I
to be
can't
like.
wait for the cloud memes of Thanos did nothing wrong. He's
I
gonna
know.
hear
I
this,
know.
bro. He's gonna hear bro
I
saying this.
know.
Yeah, look. Again, I understand, and I get the archetype. Like I'm not denying that there's no character development and that it's wasted. I'm not. This is not Captain America. Keep wanting to say Captain Falcon. God damn it.
I know.
Winter Soldier. It's not that. It's not in that sense. I do like this. I do like where the character is going. In the sense, I like the development that he had and all this stuff. I just like it's just what Sonora said. It's more about the TV series. Bash said this too. TV series kind of nerfs these characters because they got to stretch it for more than 2 hours. This is what, like 6 hours or whatever, maybe like three and a half. But at least it's
I just think that this show probably had the best ending out of all the shows.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that.
I think this is probably the best.
I big disagree on that.
What do you like? What this ending basically kicks off the next phase, and it delivered on a villain that we can look forward to in the future.
It was just but it was like a little too
true.
And so like when you look at the other shows, like the other shows kind of just went out on a soft note, whereas this one was like, no, something you made a decision. And
I don't know. WandaVision ended pretty fucking wild.
No, what do you mean? You guys, the fireball space battle and the Vision space battle was super lackluster.
Oh, I know. I'm speaking in terms of like the actual ending.
What is bringing to the next step?
Yeah,
you finally got the Scarlet Witch.
Okay, so compare the two, which one has more weight?
It's not about weight. It's about the ending of the show, like how the show ended. How did it impact?
But that's the thing. This show has a season 2. This show has a season 2.
It's so weird how this series is getting a second season.
Why is it weird? Why is it weird to you, Solar? I want you to hold on. Let me ask. How do you feel? Why is it weird to you? Why?
Oh, my fucking Siri went off. Hold on. Stop it. Okay. I guess it's when I said so weird. Anyways, because okay, with WandaVision, I see, because I feel like WandaVision and Winter Soldier definitely to me could have been a movie. And now seeing that Loki is getting a second season means that it's definitely going to come out before any of the other movies, because then that second season is going to lead to the whole multiverse of madness and like what does WandaVision Captain Winter Soldier going to lead to?
Wait. First of all, I read not just now, but like 10 minutes ago, Loki is not going to start production until January of 2022. So I am like 100. I'm 100%. Yeah, like 100% Multiverse of Madness is gonna come out before Loki season 2.
Yeah,
like
Multiverse of Madness is March 25th.
Okay, yeah.
So then, with that being said, what is season 2 gonna be about?
That's what I'm saying. I'm telling you that this is like we're gonna get cookie crumbs of like what I think Kang is gonna be the next big baddie for a while. I don't think it's gonna be like we're gonna figure this problem out and we're gonna beat him in Ant-Man and the Wasp, or we're gonna beat him. I definitely think that we're gonna have this guy around for a while, and
we're gonna get Galactus.
I don't think he's gonna be the Thanos guy.
The way I see it, if you're right, Bash, I think the way it's gonna happen is they're gonna fight multiple versions of Kang, because it's like at least I think in the series, in the TV show, they're gonna fight one that's pretty much controlling the TVA. I think the TVA is still gonna be around because of Mobius. I think it's kind of going to be not like a redo, but basically Loki has to figure a way to get to the end again and make the right decision or whatever, right? Maybe Sylvie helps or whatever. But I think it's going to be different Kangs. Like, I think the Kang that the Ant-Man and the Wasp are going to fight is going to be very different. I think the Kang that's going to might appear in Multiverse of Madness is going to be a different one too. So I think you're right, but I think it's going to be multiple entities, which could be bad and could could be a bad thing, but whatever. I still think there's room for other enemies like the Celestials, like Galactus can show up. I think there's room.
I swear to God, Kang was gonna. I thought Kang was gonna say Galactus, dude. I thought he was gonna say Galactus.
The furthest movie.
Yeah, when he was talking about the Alioth or whatever, he was like, and I found somebody that like eats worlds and shit. I was like, oh my God, this dude's about to drop Galactus right now. What?
The furthest movie date that we have is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is May 5th of 2023.
Yeah.
So I feel like they announced that they're going to work on a Fantastic Four, but we don't have a date for that. And so that's years from now. I really don't think Galactus is the thing right now. I think we're going to have Kang for a while.
If we're going to talk about Fantastic Four, they really need to hit home with Dr. Doom, because Dr. Doom should be a big baddie, like in the same
That's
level.
why I'm saying that's why I'm saying the ending of this show is so good, because it hits. Like, this show ended, season 1 ended for Loki, and it's opening the door for the whole next huge amount of the world that's going to... Blade is coming up soon. Multiverse could do that. Spider-Man's going to bring in other Spider-Man verses and maybe different villains and stuff. The mutants could come at this point.
But I think the thing is that you think like this officially started, but we've been getting hints of this in WandaVision and in the other movies, as well at the end of what is it, Far From Home. Mm-hmm. We got hints of this too when we saw James Jonah Jameson come out too. Yeah. And so I know what you mean in the sense of like we should be excited for what's to come versus what the other shows have been. But you have to understand, like Falcon and Winter Soldier, it literally kind of like tacked on racism, and it had more of a deep meaning for what Captain America should be and how Sam Wilson should have been the right Captain America.
No, but I'm just saying like how it ended with the Flag Smashers and like it's not a terrible ending, but it's definitely it was like for a finale we wanted more. We have the discussion.
Okay, but like what do you mean by more? Like, do you mean by more as in what's to come in future installments? Like
no, just how the ending was handled. The last episode.
So,
Okay.
Just pause that, right? So how the ending was handled. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's handled with a bunch of questions. We don't know who this was. We didn't get confirmation that it was Kang, even though we're supposed to believe it's Kang because we're comic book nerds.
Okay,
right?
So if you watch the first Lord of the Rings and how the first Lord of the Rings ends, was that like that? It leaves you with a bunch of like, oh, what's gonna happen next? But it's a good ending.
That's why I asked you. Is it because it's the future installments, like how it makes you feel in the future, or how did this episode end? Like
the episode delivered on Kang. It delivered on the connection between Sylvie and Loki. It delivered on the betrayal. It delivered on the season 2 reveal. Like, there's so many things that this episode, the multiverse, like the branching timeline is now open. Like, there's so many things that this ending delivered on.
But it's. I could say the same thing about like we had a finality on John Walker. We had a finality on.
Finality? What do you mean?
Like, I'm saying like we had an ending of that arc with John Walker. Now he's a U.S. agent. We had the ending, like a little arc with Zemo. Now he might break out and become the leader of the Dark Avengers, whatever. We had Captain America, Falcon becoming Captain America. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not that. It's just how did the episode impact you? I just felt like there was a lot of talking. There was a good fight scene, but that was it, right? But I agree with you when it comes to how it's going to be portrayed for the future of the MCU. Yes, it had a bigger impact because this is basically what we've been waiting for, right? The multiverse. In that sense, you're right.
Yeah, I just don't understand. Like, I'm conveying my opinion on that. I thought the ending delivered well, and we're writing on this fact so hard. I don't know why.
Because we said we didn't agree. We said we didn't agree, and you're just like, how not? Like because me and Goss and Solar think that WandaVision was the better ending.
I only agree with that. I'll give my reasons why. My biggest reason why is because I called this last episode and probably the episode before was that the ending villain was going to be Kang. So seeing that the last villain and seeing the Kang reveal was not as big of a shocker to me because I kind of already like expected it to be Kang.
That's what's weird to me because in retrospect, we were sitting there, Mephisto, Quicksilver, and those didn't deliver, and everyone was pissed about it. So that's what's weird to me is that like we expect
I'm
something.
Not mad. It's see okay. I'm not upset at it, and I'm not disappointed. It's just the impact it had to me was different because
weird, it's like if I said, "Oh, the last guy in the Royal Rumble is gonna be John Cena," and it ends up not being John Cena. What am I gonna feel? I'm not gonna feel like more shocked that it wasn't. It's gonna be like, "Well, shit, it's not John Cena." Like,
well, it's not that. It's just the knowing or having a speculation on who the character is at the end.
Like you think it was too predictable, maybe?
Yeah, well, maybe a little bit. Not too much because we did talk about like what we thought like the last episode was gonna have.
Yeah, we said that it could have been a Loki variant. We said it could have been.
So there was a lot of different theories that we had on the ending. So it's not like it was too predictable, but that was definitely my like if we went back last week and you had a gun to my head and you asked me who do you think it's gonna be and I say Kang and you give me an option, I'm gonna say it's Kang. Like that was going to be my bet. So the impact is not. It's not that it's not it's not that it doesn't hold weight because it definitely does, and I agree with Vash in the fact that this episode does hold way more weight than any of the other finales in the TV series that we've seen. But for me, at the end of this episode, I saw Kang. Right, I saw the statue, and I was like, badass, fuck yeah, that's Kang, sick. At the end of WandaVision, when you see Wanda in the cabin and she's doing the little floaty shit and she's like self-projecting and like reading the fucking demon book and you hear her fucking kids calling to her from a fucking another dimension, to me that's more like that is a more what the fuck moment
because that could connect to what's happening now that's why she can hear the voice. You know what I mean?
That is more of a holy shit. Like it was something like a big attention grabber at the scene. So I like it was like, oh fuck, like I did not see that happening at all. Like these kids are not supposed to be real. Why are they real? Like what the fuck is going on? So it was like to me that ending was more holy shit than this ending. Not to say that this ending doesn't hold weight because like I said, and I agree with you, that the episode does hold more weight than any of the others. It's just the ending of WandaVision was way more like of a what the fuck moment than like shit hell yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I can see where you're coming from, but I just feel like it's a toss up between Wanda with the book and hearing her kids, or being at the end of time as we know it, and understanding that the timeline breaks apart to where there could be 50 billion timelines where there's different versions of Wanda's kids. You know what I mean? So like, it flows way more in one direction when it comes to the magnitude of what the fuck's going on.
I see that.
And like, that's just how I saw it. But I mean, honestly, thinking about it now, the ending of the last Spider-Man movie, we get the Mysterio reveals Peter's identity, and Jonah basically is covering the news on it, and it just hit me. We could have the Spider-Verse thing happen, and we could have Tom Holland, Peter Parker standing in front of an audience, and then another Spider-Man from a different universe show up, and then they could just fix his problems.
Yeah, no, that's what I said. And I think I talked about this when we were watching the episode, how or maybe in the beginning of the discussion, where the shows and movies are not in chronological order. Mm-hmm. Like this legit could have been the first thing, and right when Kang died, like all the things that you see that are weird glimpses, like Wanda hearing her kids and J. Jonah Jameson coming out and reporting on Spider-Man, that could all be because of what happened in Kang.
Yeah.
So like the multiverse is already started.
No, I'm just saying because I made the comment a long time ago when I first saw the Spider-Man movie, and saw that secret ending.
Right.
I made the comment. I was like, man, I don't like that this Peter has basically expedited his fucking time. Like, he's already revealed to MJ, already revealed to the world, already like he had all these things happen to him, and he's not even like out of high school yet.
Yeah.
And so I was worried about that, but this might be a way to like kind of bring that like reel him in a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel like we're definitely not going to get answers until Multiverse of Madness comes out.
Yeah.
Or Spider-Man.
Or Spider-Man.
I think Spider-Man's gonna be like the big one, dude. Like Spider-Man.
The next big one. I can see, yeah.
Yeah, because Shang-Chi looks like it's going to be self-contained. Venom is its own thing. I don't know if it's going to be crossing over.
Even the Eternals.
Yeah, Eternals is going to be something that might be very interesting.
Shang-Chi is going to be cool because I think they're going to add on more to the whole Thunderbolt Ross thing. Because Abomination, I think they're going to add a little bit to it.
Maybe.
Which I'm hoping for, but we'll see.
But alright,
showed Wong, didn't it?
Huh?
It didn't the Shang-Chi trailer, because I remember when we went to go see Black Widow, I saw like Wong come out.
Yeah,
like,
I think Abomination's fighting Wong.
Oh yeah.
I think. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's pretty much it. Like, if you guys want to bring up anything specific, we can. But overall, Loki was an experience. I think so. As much as episode to episode and the journey, for me personally, I've enjoyed it, and I think the show was fun and very captivating. But I also think like when you look at it at its entirety, while it ended with like a great big like door opening for so much more to happen, I definitely feel like though it was just a lot of just. It's one of those, how when you watch like a movie like Harry Potter, for example, and there's like a movie in between another that's like a little bit of a stepping stone. Like when you look at this show in its entirety, for me it felt like it was one big stepping stone, but it was a great leap for the character Loki on his own. But when it comes to like the show in its entirety and how it's handled and how each episode went, and Sylvie being tossed into the mix, it definitely like it just very it was above average, but just around the area of average for me. When I look at it now that it's all said and done, like it was a fun time. But if I were to stack them up against the others, like I still think episode to episode like enjoyment value, I think Falcon the Winter Soldier was just too good because I love the dynamic of John Walker and all that shit. And
I don't think any episode tops that John Walker killing that guy scene. Not yet. Like I think everything is good, and like I agree with the sense of like what the last episode of this series brought.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that episode was shot and like had everyone feeling that weird feeling when he's standing over that guy's body, it's like
that was the biggest shock factor.
That was a big shock.
No, yeah, I agree with that.
So
I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna for my rating for this episode, I'd probably give it like a 8.5.
As for the series overall.
And the series overall, I'd probably give it like a 7.5 or 8. Like it was thoroughly enjoyable, and I just think that they really hit the like all the emotional parts for Loki as a character. If you remove all the implications of like the MCU, and if you remove all of the extra fluff about the world building of the TVA and shit like that, just like the character Loki, like I feel like this was a journey for him, and it's crazy that he's not done. He's still going on in season 2. And I really enjoyed watching him. Every time he was on screen, it was very like captivating and interesting, and I was excited to see what was going to happen next.
Yeah.
How about you, Bradley?
I think the episode was definitely good. I mean, we got the big reveal. We got the big, Kang, who's gonna probably be the, the big baddie for this phase. but we'll see, right? Because we saw Avengers 1 when we put ourselves back into Avengers 1 and we had Loki as the villain. We were just kind of like, huh. But he wasn't the big baddie. He was, it ended up being Thanos at the end. So I'm wondering if he's really going to be the big baddie. I think he's maybe the first baddie. But what he could control and what he talks about with time and in dimensions and things like that does seem pretty high scale power. So it could definitely be something of that scale. Honestly, like I like the characters, I like the production. I think out of all the shows, I like the production and core of this show more than the others. Even though Wanda had a really cool one because it was kind of like shifting time stuff like that, so that was really cool. But um, yeah, I would have to give the episode. The episode itself, I definitely felt like the show reached its maximum or climax third, fourth episode. It definitely dipped after that. I definitely feel like I was enjoying it more in the beginning of the season, and then kind of dipped out away after that. Um, but I think I didn't hate any of those episodes, so I think that was pretty good. I think I give the episode itself like a 7.5, and I think I would give the show itself a 7.5.
All right, and Goss, for you?
So I think this episode I would give it an 8 out of 10. And I'd give the series as a whole probably an 8 also, maybe an 8.5. There was only really one episode throughout this series that I didn't really enjoy, and I think that was like everybody's episode that wasn't that great. Um, but the series overall was actually amazing. I was way more intrigued. See, this is one of those things where it's like, yeah, I liked Falcon and Winter Soldier. It definitely had one of the bigger moments out of like the entire like TV series MCU stuff that we watched so far, with the whole John Walker scene. But I am a fan of like powers and shit. I like real metaphysical stuff. I mean I'm cool with the whole like physicality and the beat 'em ups and the shit, and I mean that shit's cool too. But I am really 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 about like metaphysical shit, seeing all the multiversal stuff, seeing powers being used from different dimensions and different alternate realities and dimensional beings and shit. Like and celestial beings. Like that's the type of stuff that really really captivates me when it comes to Marvel. All of my favorite Marvel stories are all about that. And they're just my favorite. So seeing stuff like this is fantastic to me. Again, this is a very great show, especially for me because I was not as big of a fan of Loki as a character as I am now after seeing the show, which has helped out a lot. And I like when a show or a movie does that for me, when it takes my idea and opinion on a character and completely turns it on its head, just based off of like a movie or a TV series. I really really enjoy that. It's I don't like for things to stay the same and stay stagnant, especially if it's a character like Loki, who's been a part of the MCU from the beginning, basically, all the way up to now, and everything has basically been turned on its head for him. And to me, I find that very fascinating, very compelling, and I really, really enjoy that. So I'm probably gonna stick with actually an 8.5 out of 10 for the whole series.
Sweet. All right. And Solar?
Episode, I give a 7. Series, I give an 8. It's and I kind of want to touch up again on how we were talking about how like the side characters of like all the series that we've seen so far have like stolen the show in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even like oh my god, why is my fucking Siri going off? Anyways,
Miss Minutes coming for you.
Miss Minutes about. Oh no, y'all got games on your phone.
You got some games on your phone.
What was I saying? Right. So like when kind of like thinking back on like the series finales of like the shows we've seen so far, I like that it leaves me with like questions, whereas like in WandaVision, like, all right, we saw that whole scene where she's essentially like Doctor Stranging the book, and here's her kids, and then oh, what about the other Vision? Like, okay, when are we gonna see him again? And then you think of Captain Winter Soldier. Okay, what's Zemo gonna do? What about fucking Carter? And so it's like this one didn't really leave me with that many questions. Like as far as the side characters, like okay, Mobius and Hunter. What was it? B what? Be some?
B-15, I think, or D-15.
B-15 or D-15, and they're just kind of like whatever. I mean, okay, well, it's not really mostly the side characters. I mean, like it's not really leaving me with like a whole bunch of questions as to like, oh, what's gonna happen next? Because like, I mean, yeah, we're getting a season 2, but at the same time, it didn't really leave me with that much intrigue that the first two series, um, that the first two that we watched. But I mean, either that being said, I'm still looking forward that it at least introduced us to the big bad.
Yeah.
So, but that's gonna span throughout a couple, probably like the other shows in one way, and the movies.
Yeah,
So
I
like,
mean, the cool thing about the side characters is definitely like they're building the Young Avengers. We've already gotten like almost all of them, and then they're building the either the Thunderbolts or the Dark Avengers. With now we got Yelena and we got John Walker. So it's like these side characters are being prominent and they're stealing the show for a reason. It's because Marvel is like, we can't keep these older MCU characters around forever because these actors are going to get bored at some point. So it makes sense to continue to build upon and work these new characters in to kind of pass the torch at some point. But yeah, I mean, overall solid, and it's definite. I'm really curious if we're gonna see Loki in the Doctor Strange movie or not, because since he's at the forefront, so is Sylvie. I'm sure Doctor Strange is gonna have to come up with some way of learning that they're at the forefront. So I'm wondering if
So I have a question, or I have something that we can kind of touch up on before you give like closing statements. But so Kang has only been confirmed to be the big bad for Ant-Man and the Wasp, right?
Yeah.
What if Kang is like the big bad just for that movie?
It'd be very surprising, to say the least.
Because that movie doesn't come out until 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So Kang could be a part of season 2 of Loki, and then lead straight into Quantumania for the next year.
True.
And just like you said, how you don't think Kang is like the real big bad. Kang, I'm not sure if Kang is going to be. It might be one of those things where Kang is talked about or touched base in the movies, but I kind of agree with you, especially after reading when Quantumania is coming out. I mean, that's years. That's 2 years away from us.
Yeah.
And there are a bunch of movies that are going to come out between now and then. And I really don't think Kang is going to be like, with the fact that we've got so many things that we to look forward to, I don't think Kang is going to be that big of a deal to where he's like controlling 3 different movies, 3 different whole like things at once.
I mean, it could be a Thanos situation where he is the after credit scene, or he is you know, in one scene in the movie, but there's like there's someone who's, you know, like doing the muscle work for that movie or something. But
yeah.
not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess that's it. That's it for me. I'm pretty sure we're hitting the hour and 30-minute mark here. Um, so yeah, it's another Marvel TV show in the books. I feel like they've done. I feel like, you know, if the job was to get people to subscribe to Disney Plus, like Marvel's been killing it with their time releases. Like we get one thing finished and then the next one comes up like pretty soon after.
Yeah.
And definitely very, you know, applauds to that, because it's like we got WandaVision, it ended, and then Falcon Winter Soldier came up a little bit after, and then that ended, and then we got Loki, and then even between Loki we got Black Widow, and then August we're getting you know,
What if?
next month we're getting
What
What If,
if?
yeah,
Yeah.
and then September we're getting Shang-Chi, so it's like, you know, bam 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 bam, we're getting so much stuff.
I will say
I can't
this.
say Black Widow stuff, right?
Not completely.
I wouldn't give away
I was gonna say, what
anything.
if they?
Yeah, no, we made that joke in the fucking discussion, but
Yeah, I want to also touch up on that. There is something. Um, I am really surprised at how. I have my favorites, but in a generally speaking, I am so surprised at how well these TV series are doing. Like
mhm.
I have like every single TV series has completely exceeded my expectations. Like
I agree.
tenfold.
I agree with that. Yeah,
Like
I agree with that.
I like even considering like I go back and I talk about this all the time. Falcon and Winter Soldier literally was like everything I did not expect. Especially from like just watching the trailer, I was like, "Oh no, here we go, buddy cop movie, great." And then, like fun, yeah,
Yeah,
because
the
that's
trailer
what I
for
want to
that
watch.
show is like, I don't know what the hell. I being the big Winter Soldier fan, even I was skeptical. I was like, this does not look like it's gonna be that entertaining.
Yeah, I remember we were
Yeah, and it was great. It was so good,
Yeah.
and like I felt the same way about Loki too. I saw the Loki trailer and I was like, oh my god, like here we go, another thing where it's Loki and he does the bad thing and he pretends he's the good guy, but he's not. And I was just completely wrong, and like in a good way, not in like a bad way. I just want to like really congratulate Marvel for such a great job that they're doing with the TV series, because I was very much afraid that they were not going to be able to take like the movie stuff and adapt it to a TV series, and they've done an exceedingly great job every single
Yeah,
fucking time.
I honestly think it is because of the 6 episode seasons, and like the fact that they're
Yeah,
short seasons. I feel like that also applies to why it's so digestible, because it's like, okay, we got 6 episodes and they're all like lengthy ones, but so it's basically like this, you're getting an extended director's cut of a movie, but like TV show style. So it's like
yeah.
yeah.
interesting that they did that. But I mean, I can toss this in here. We don't have to talk about it, but I just want to throw it in there before we end the stream. But there was, I don't know if it's gonna lead to anything, but there was a fun little trailer for Ryan Reynolds' new movie, The Free Guy, or it's just called Free Guy, and it was a Deadpool reacting to the trailer, but also alongside Korg from
Oh yeah,
Thor Ragnarok. And so
yeah.
I don't really know if that means much. I don't know if it was just supposed to be fun or
Well,
whatever.
it definitely means a
No,
lot. Yeah.
I think Marvel tweeted out or something. Some big corporation tweeted out that Deadpool was now a part of the Marvel MCU.
Uh-huh.
Well,
So,
I mean, people have been saying, like, even comicbook.com says it. It's a big thing, but I do think like they're trying to. I think what's happening is Deadpool is probably gonna come out sometime next year, but maybe not in time for like all these multiverse stuff. But they want to make sure people kind of understand. Okay, Deadpool's probably in the MCU now. Which is it's amazing news. I mean, honestly.
yeah.
It'll definitely be really cool just because of the way he is, and rated R stuff is cool, but Hopefully it comes out. I mean, they teased Wolverine last week, teasing Deadpool now.
Yeah.
Like, goddamn. Like,
Yeah.
god
I want
damn.
the mutants, man. I want the mutants so bad.
I
want him so bad.
Yeah.
Hey, it's so bad. So bad.
Gosh, you have to come down for fucking Spider-Man. We have to watch Tobey Maguire. All four of us have to go watch.
I swear to God, if Willem Dafoe comes out in that movie, I'm gonna fucking
That's why I'm saying
you know how much I sacrifice.
We don't know, bro.
I'm gonna ship myself.
We don't know. That's what we all gotta watch it.
But
I don't want to watch on the damn Disney Plus.
I'm so like the whole scale of all this stuff, man. This shit's gonna fucking run until like at least our 40s and 50s, dude.
I'm here for the ride.
This shit's gonna be around for a while.
I'm here, dude.
I'm here.
Oh man.
But all right,
I just
everybody.
want to touch up on something.
Oh, go ahead.
What if Kang is only a TV series villain?
Nope. We just said it's confirmed that he's in Ant-Man.
I mean,
yeah.
I thought Tony Stark was in Black Widow 2, and look what happened. Black Widow.
No spoilers.
Black Widow 2.
Black Widow 2.
And there's a second movie coming.
Raleigh's from the future.
Disclaimer: there is no.
He's from the other.
Disclaimer for people watching: there is no Black Widow 2. Broly's fucking stupid.
Yeah, with the multiverse hits,
Raleigh's from the multiverse, dude. He's already seen part 2.
What the fuck?
I think with like with the bog hits, dude, but when the multiverse hit. Oh.
When the multiverse
All right, well,
hit.
I'm gonna end it here. Thank you again, everybody who's here discussing the series finale. I know this one was chaotic, but it was a crazy episode. But that's it for us. I think the next discussion we're having is for Resident Evil Infinite Darkness. Broly and I have seen it.
I need to catch
and
up.
Solara saw
He's
it
about to
too.
watch it. He doesn't want to watch it. He doesn't want...
I kind of slept through that third episode, so I'm gonna have to rewatch it.
No spoilers.
I just said I fell asleep during it. We watched it and I was really tired.
Okay.
But yeah, Resident Evil Infinite's the next one, and also Invincible. We got to do a discussion at some point.
Well, we're supposed to do a discussion about Final Fantasy Intermission.
That too. What the hell is that sound?
That's.
But all right, that's it for us. Thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube, just know that we stream this live at twitch.tv/Vash. Loki's done, so we won't be doing this at 3 a.m. But
thank God.
I guess whenever the next What If comes out, we'll find out when we're gonna start watching that shit. I feel like since it's a What If thing, we can just do that at a normal time, not like right when it launches. But we'll discuss it.
We got to do it right when it launches.
What if Broly likes the end?
What if Broly actually likes something?
Well, that's gonna be the great thing about it, is that it's just what if stories. We don't have to fucking speculate.
Hey, where's this negativity? What if Solara?
I want an episode that says what if Broly knew what the point was of the show at the end of it. That's what I want to know.
I want to know.
What if Broly knew?
I was gonna say that.
What? I didn't hear you. What?
What if Broly knew the meaning of betrayal?
Vocabulary.com.
In all seriousness, yeah, like I'm pretty stoked to just listen to some stories or whatever, however they show it, just like and not have to worry about like, oh, is that gonna be in the future movie or whatever?
Yeah.
You know?
What if, dude? You don't know. It's a what if.
That's the point. It's a what if. It's just one time. You don't have to worry about it being canon.
Well, the thing is, okay, hold on. The thing is, I did read somewhere that
What if Ash ended the stream right now?
I know.
What if Ash ended this stream? It says I read somewhere that someone said that what if will have some sort of influence on the MCU, but I don't know what. So, something to keep an eye out for. But, alright, we're done. Sending off. Bye-bye. Good night, everybody.
Later.
GG's.
What if?
You're dumb.